Would you be crazy enough to stick your finger into a spinning saw blade? We show you a video where someone was actually silly enough to do exactly that. Chris tries to spring a question on Stacy about crypto wallets. Then we find an example of where parents may be putting too much pressure on their kids. Then we show you an ABC site that shows you what political party your views actually align with, and the results may be very surprising. So pop on your headphones and listen to the saw blade whirl as we cut through all those topics, leaving your fingers intact, here on Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World podcast.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Two Crazy Guys in One Crazy World podcast, where your hosts will entertain you with stories and news from around the living room and possibly other places too. So without further ado, your hosts, Stacy and Chris. Bring it on, guys.
I'm recording, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
I'm ready. You are
It's
ready.
fine.
Okay. Good evening,
Never
good
ready.
morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World. Starting as always, totally synced in.
Oh,
So,
totally.
Welcome to episode, what, Stacey? Come on, give me the magic number.
11, 1-1,
Number
11.
11. Legs 11. We're at legs 11, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have the bingo card in front of you, mark off number 11. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Good. Yeah, no, it had a good, busy weekend, Easter break. Easter went away quick, so we had a couple of grandies come up to our place. We had some fun with them, and then we flew down to Canberra to visit our newest little grandchild.
Yeah.
And then came back home, and then I got into the shed to reorganise that. So
Yeah, but you've
It's,
been reorganising your shed for a very long time, right? And it's coming along very well. You're going to have to show us photos.
yeah, okay, I shall.
You're going to have to.
I shall.
That's actually a really good idea. You should show us the before and after photos. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen
I've
the
been taking some
before.
photos.
I've seen the before. So I'm really interested to see the after, because knowing Mr. Stacy Bosel, it's probably pretty damn good, but don't tell him I said that.
Well, you know the big shelving system I had in the back of the shed.
Yeah.
I've now taken that out and put it under the carport to stack the timber.
Okay, he also takes drugs, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. He's allowed to. Some of them are probably even legal drugs.
No,
No?
definitely.
Okay.
Well, why would I do
Well,
that?
mate,
There's-
we went away, as
there's
you
no
know,
fun in
we
that.
went away for Easter. We went to a place called Culburra. Now, Culburra is a little town about 18 or 20 k's outside of Nowra on the coast near Shoalhaven Heads, and it's beautiful. It's just like a little village, but having said
And
that, probably
If anyone watches episode 10, they'll get. If anyone watches episode 10, they'll see some of that.
They will. Will they? Oh, yeah, because that's where we were when we made episode 10, right? And it was
Correct.
such a magic weekend. Like, we did a podcast down there, once again, proving that we can do this shit from anywhere.
That's right.
Mate, it was April, right? I mean, mid-April, and the ocean was warmer than December. We swam every day. It was beautiful. Just
Insane.
beautiful. We had one day where there was a surf of about 9 foot, 8, 9 foot, and so it was a bit rough. But the water, my God, it was nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
go figure.
fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected to be all right down that south.
Culburra is a beautiful spot. I don't know if I said in episode 10, it was actually a place where I used to go as a child.
Yeah,
With my grandparents. They had a holiday house there.
yeah. No, you did mention that.
Yeah, paid about $3.5 grand, now worth about $1 million. So
There you go. There you go. Not bad at all.
Yeah. Anyway, since then, gotten back, washed the motorbike, and back into work. Got some other work on. So
Did
that's
get all the dust off your motorbike gear?
no. No, I think it's going to have to take you a long time. I'm not even game to throw that gear in our washing machine. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, no, it looked pretty bad from what I saw.
Yeah,
It was,
that's pretty bad. Anyway, that's life. All right, Mr. Bosel, what's the latest in the
So
crypto world?
Well, very quickly before we do that, I just want to then
I ask
quick
that.
shout out to our subscribers. Thank you guys,
Yes.
and thank you for joining. And we've got some special content coming your way, so look out for that.
Absolutely. Like, you guys are going to get a link to an awesome video. Awesome video.
Yes, yes, they are. Look forward to
It's only
that.
a little but we promise it'll give you a giggle. If it doesn't, check your pulse. You probably died and no one's time to lay down.
All right, so let me share. Let me share my little screen. Tell me if you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
So let's have a quick jump over into Coin Checkup. It's looking a little bit red, but it's not as bad as it looks. Not as bad as it looks, because we have had it.
Jumps out in that graph.
What's that?
Bitcoin is green.
Yep.
Everything else is red, yet the charts look extremely similar.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, isn't it? And there's a very good reason for that. Very good reason for that. Right. And part of that reason is the fact that Bitcoin still has, over half the majority of the market capitalization, the amount of money invested into cryptos. And while it is volatile, it's more stable than most of the other cryptos.
Yep.
Okay. So while it is green, it is green just. If we're looking at a 7-day, you can see the green charts here are actually a 7-day price.
Yeah.
It's fraz, like just sneaking above the 0%, right? Yeah. So it's just snuck into being positive. But the positive thing is there's been some negative news, some real FUD, as we like to call it in the industry, which is what's caused a lot of the sell-off over the week. And but it's positive news that Bitcoin has actually held its price. So remember when we talked about the big jump that happened in early April, and we went from 4,000 up over 5,000, and we did get as high as 5,600, just over 5,600 US. We're talking, and it's now dropped back down to just under 5,300. Right? Yeah. But we're still sitting above. Still sitting above 5.2, which is, from my perspective, I think is quite a good sign. The fact that it hasn't dropped right down doesn't mean to say it will or won't, but for the moment, it's been able to hold support around that level, which is pretty good. So it has threatened a couple of times to drop back below the 5,000, but it's managed to hold itself quite well, which is good. One of the key reasons, and I talked about FUD before, this is one of the key reasons I believe is for the recent drop this week, is that Bitfinex and Tether, and for those that don't know, Bitfinex is an exchange, all right, and Tether is it's probably one of the biggest, but it was definitely one of the first what they call stable coins. So it's a cryptocurrency, but it is pegged to the US dollar. So the idea is that it stays stable, thus the name stablecoin. So it will hold its value level to the US dollar. Now there has been a lot of talk over the last year or two around whether or not Bitfinex and the people that own sort of Tether actually has all the US dollars backed by all the Tether that they've released, right? Because at one stage they were up well over $2 billion worth of Tether that had been released to the marketplace. But no one's been able to get an independent audit to determine whether or not they've actually got that much money in US dollars set aside to peg it to the amount of coins that they've released. So under all of that, the New York Attorney General says, we think there's fraud happening and we're going to investigate you. Wow. And in particular, they've labelled at $150 million. Why that amount?
$150 million they've got in that article.
Yeah, that's right. So the claim asserts that the company has moved as much as $850 million, which was supposed to be held in reserve for the Tether stablecoin, into Bitfinex accounts, right? In an attempt to make up for a massive funding gap that they've got. So the Attorney General is basically saying, well, that's not your money to do with as you please, right? It's actually the money for Tether, therefore you can't just go and do what you want with that. Is sort of
example of how easy it is to manipulate the crypto market?
Look, absolutely. And when things like this come out, and part of the reason why I think, well, so what if one exchange is getting investigated for fraud? Why would it impact the price? Well, part of the fraud component of this is there's been a lot of speculation that as Bitfinex basically printed more tether back in 2017, the price of Bitcoin rose with it. And people have actually done some correlation sort of charts to look at, okay, well, here they've printed a bunch of tether, and lo and behold, well, the price of Bitcoin suddenly jumped up.
Yep.
So, look, we don't know for sure. There is some correlation. So there are those that suspect that if this is the case, there could be a bit of a sell-off once they discover that the price of Bitcoin was artificially inflated, which is a bit of a joke because we know it was artificially inflated in 2017 anyway. So,
always been artificially inflated.
So, I mean, the fact that it jumped up to $20,000, it jumped up. I think it started the year at 2,000 and ended up at 20,000. Was just a little bit crazy. So it's interesting. So apparently, the talk around the town is that this FUD is what's actually caused the sell-off in the last week. So, but look, overall, it's actually, like I said, from a Bitcoin perspective, it's not looking too bad. The actual market cap has taken a bit of a hit though. So what that tells me is that Bitcoin's holding fairly steady, but a lot of the other smaller cap cryptocurrencies have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, mate, someone will make some shit up and it'll go back up. That's all that.
Look, it's what happens. Crypto goes up, crypto goes down, right? It's just the way it works. It's just the way it works.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Right, part 2 about crypto today.
Yes.
Part 2 about crypto. This is a bit Stacy doesn't know about, ladies and gentlemen, but I actually think that he will do very well in this little surprise.
Oh, no, you're setting me up now. I don't like this.
Know what he's talking about.
No.
Now, prior to us coming on air, Stacy was shoving something at the camera. And no, it was nothing like that. But it was a black parcel, not a brown paper bag, mind you, like I'd like by looking at the camera, but a black parcel. Now, whether that was his intuition telling him what his deal got in store for me or not, I have no idea. Well, what I would like to do is give the floor back to Mr. Stacy Bosel over there, because he's actually pretty good at some of this stuff. Believe it or not, I know people out there are saying, you're making shit up again, Chris. But no,
yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
He can actually be pretty good at some of this stuff. So, Stacy, I would like you to spend the next couple of minutes explaining to our dedicated people out there, those that are hanging on every bated breath about cryptocurrency and who have zero idea what to do.
I think Mum's just left.
Explain the difference between a hardware wallet that you can hold in your hand and a software wallet on your phone or other device.
Okay.
Now tell me that there's and you can stop sharing your screen too, but tell me for whatever reason, tell me that you showing that little black box to the camera wasn't intuition.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
And I have, ladies and gentlemen, I have absolutely no idea whether I'm right or wrong in this, but my guess is that inside that sealed little black box was a hardware wallet.
You are indeed correct, and here it is here.
Unbelievable. Right? Unbelievable.
So for those that aren't watching the video, I'm holding up a little parcel. It's not very big. It's probably smaller than if you bought an iPhone, for example, or a mobile phone. It's probably a phrase smaller. Yeah, it's a slightly smaller box than what you would buy a mobile phone in. And this one, this particular hardware wallet, I actually have one of these already, but I bought a second one for our self-managed super fund. So as a
putting your self-managed super fund funds into crypto.
I am indeed, my friend. I am indeed.
Wow, okay, you.
Absolutely. So yes, we're definitely to say we're going down the crypto rabbit hole is an understatement, right?
Right. So go on.
I believe it. Okay.
The difference.
All right.
The pros and cons of each.
All right. No worries at all. So if we talk about, first of all, software wallets, they're probably the easiest one where most people would probably start with. And they are an application. So they're just a piece of software, a bit of code that is written to run on a device, right? So, for example, if I show you my iPhone, if that's visible all right, Chris, I don't know if you can see that.
Yep. Yeah, that's
So there's a bunch of, you can see there's a bunch of applications on there. They just look like a button like any other application on your phone, right? Now, there's one called, I'll open up, one called Jack's Liberty. Right? Now, Jack's is what they call a multi-coin wallet. So it's capable of holding different types of cryptocurrencies. And just think of them as like different countries' currencies, right? So in Australia, we use Australian dollars, right? Now,
so
imagine.
Let me just take you back just a slight step.
Yep.
So, and I'm going to play the dummy because, sometimes that can work. Huh? Sometimes.
You do a great job.
A wallet for all those out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you hear people talking about your cryptocurrency wallet, imagine you've got your physical wallet that you hold your cash in, that you take down to the shops and you pull out your money and you go and you buy stuff. Well, a cryptocurrency wallet is a piece of software on a device that you can actually store your cryptocurrency inside. Like Stacy's holding up a picture now. So rather than having a physical wallet where you pull out physical money, because we all know the cryptocurrency is digital, the wallet itself is also digital. So therefore, you can have it on your phone.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's what he's talking about. It's referred to as a wallet because it stores your funds.
It just stores your funds, correct. So, and as I said, the advantage with a lot of these ones is they're multi-coin wallets. So rather than a wallet that just holds, say, Australian dollars, we could have a wallet that holds Australian, US, Euro, but in cryptocurrencies, right? So there's a whole bunch of those. There's I think last I saw there's about 3,500 different types of cryptocurrencies that are available now. So so we can store a bunch of those. Now, think of your software wallets, like your phone wallet, a bit like your normal wallet. Now, you wouldn't hold all of your wealth and all of your investments and everything in that wallet. You would only hold enough to do your general spending, have a bit of money if you're going out somewhere or whatever, right? So my recommendation is that you treat your phone wallet much the same way. You don't put all your wealth and everything onto a phone, but you have some there, just in case or to transact with, in case you need it, to play with, whatever, okay? So that's your software wallet. And you can put them on it's not just your phone, but you can put them on your computer as well. Okay?
Yep, your iPad, your phone, your computer, whatever electronic device you have.
Exactly. Now, two things that to consider there is that if something happens to that device, if you don't have a backup of that wallet, you lose it. It's like dropping your wallet out in the middle of Sydney Street somewhere. Your chances of getting it back are next to nothing, right?
It's actually less than that because there's no record other than your wallet of that money, all those coins existing. Once it's gone into your wallet.
Oh, no, they're still on the blockchain.
Yeah, they're in the blockchain, but they couldnn't tell you who they are because
you just can't access it.
Factored however many bit encryption behind it. So therefore, if you've got that code, you can get it. If you don't have that code, you can't get it.
Yes, that's right. So, there is a risk element with software wallets, okay. And the other issue is that if it's all sitting on your phone, then either you could be coerced into giving over all your funds, right? Or what has happened in some cases is that people have done what they call SIM swap attacks, right? Where they have actually, more so in America than in Australia, but they have actually gone in, got a new SIM, gone into the carrier and said, "Oh, look, I've trashed my phone. I need to get my number onto my new phone," and they've had some basic information. got their number, and then sucked in all their, like, gone onto the site, reset the code, and had as a two-factor authentication method, have the code sent to their phone, they can reset the password, and bang, they've got access to all your accounts, right?
Wow.
So using your phone as a two-factor authentication has a risk attached to it as well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, anything attached to the internet has a risk factor, okay?
Yes.
Now, this is where this little box comes in, right? It's called a hardware wallet because it is a piece of hardware, right? It's like a little USB box, right? And there's a bunch of different ones around. I bought Keys, the one I personally like, but there's a Trezor and Ledger, and there's a few brands that do them. Now, the great thing about that is that you can connect it up to your computer. You can transfer the funds to or from it, disconnect it, store it away, and while it's disconnected, nobody can touch it. Okay? So it's like having
a home safe, ladies and gentlemen, because we all know you all have a home safe.
Yes. Or store somewhere off-site. So the whole reason why I'm getting a second one is to store it off-site. Okay.
Yep.
That way, house burns down or someone comes in and robs the house, they won't get access to my my funds on my hardware wallet. Not going to be hacked, right? Because it's not connected. It stays offline, so it can't actually be hacked. So,
what about its code? Is its code stored somewhere online, or
no? That's up to you. No, it's entirely up to you. How and where you store those private keys.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody has access to any of that. It's only you. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So it's secure, but the flip side to that is you've got to take responsibility for those codes.
You lose it, you lose it.
You lose those codes, and you're gone.
To give you a
right?
really good example, before the invention of hardware wallets, one of my boys had downloaded in the days when Bitcoin was worth bugger all, because you have to remember that when Bitcoin first came out, it was worth part of a penny.
Pennies, and that's right.
On home computer. That one of my lads actually decided to have a little bit of a play, and he did that, and he got 2 full Bitcoins. Now, they weren't worth anything at all, and he stored them on a USB drive. He downloaded them off his computer and put them on a USB drive. Threw that in his drawer and probably forgot about it. Years later, Bitcoin's worth $20,000. Guess what he was looking for madly with that USB drive? Problem was he'd moved house 3 times. He's still not found that USB drive, and it's got 2 full Bitcoins on it. Now, granted, that's only worth $10,400 now, $10,500 now for both of them. But at one point last year, that was worth $40,000.
And it'll go back there, right? It'll go back.
Absolutely. All right. So in summary, a software wallet is a piece of software on a device where you can store your coins.
Correct.
And a hardware wallet.
So it's convenient.
Piece of hardware where you can download your coins and the code for your coins off your device onto that. They no longer exist on the computer. They're only on the hardware.
Just careful on the wording, because while yes, you're, when you say downloading your coins, all you're really doing is downloading the balance to your device, right? And the ability to transfer those coins, right? Because in a public ledger cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, for example, the coins reside on the blockchain, right? Yep. So then you don't actually download the coins per se.
No, but you download the code. The code.
You have the codes. Yeah. So you have the code, the private keys that enables you the right to decide what you want to do with those coins, right?
Yeah.
The coins themselves reside on the blockchain.
So when it comes to the ATMs, like there's a Bitcoin ATM here in Canberra, right? So when it comes to the ATMs, if you had your hardware wallet with you, can you go and then draw cash out from the ATM?
You have to be able to. The short answer at the moment is no, because and while I haven't used the Bitcoin ATMs yet, just understanding how the process is most likely to work, it's going to ask you to either do one or two things. One, it's going to give you an address to send the coins to, which is the way I'd expect it to work. So you go to the ATM and you say, I want to withdraw $100 of Bitcoin. And it's going to go, okay, send your Bitcoin to this address. And then you'll go to your wallet, right? And send it to that address. Then you can get your coins out. It could also potentially ask you to enter in your private keys to access those funds, but I can't imagine, technically that could work, but I can't imagine it doing that because that would be really insecure because you're plugging your, that, right? I mean, it is, you'd have to remember the key, but it's a security thing as well, right? You're plugging your private keys into a public device, right? Which I don't think they would do. And and to be honest, I would recommend anyone if an ATM is asking you for that, don't use it.
That's very, very good point.
Because you probably won't get, or you might get $100, but everything else will disappear out of your wallet.
You get your 100, they get you 10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, when all of this stuff, safety first. If in doubt, don't do it. It's just that easy.
Yeah.
Mr. Basel, congratulations.
Oh,
that was very well done, considering I put you on the spot. You did literally, ladies and gentlemen, had no idea that was coming.
Had no idea that was coming.
Bloody inane reason shows me a hardware wallet and I knew what it was just before the segment.
I did, because it just arrived over the weekend.
Unbelievable.
Great timing.
That's why we are, because this is two crazy guys in one crazy world, and this crazy sort of shit happens all the time. All right.
Well, talking of crazy shit.
Yeah. Moving right along, crazy news. Just crazy news. Now, look, we all know that as children, right, they're those little miniature human type beings, right? As children, parents put expectations on kids.
No.
Right?
Who does that?
Yeah, occasionally, except us perfect people. But anyway, like you want your kid to do well at school, for example.
Yeah.
Well, in India, right? In India, I don't know if you've seen this story.
I haven't,
in India,
but...
They had 1 million kids had to sit an exam. 1 million.
Wow.
Right, across India to do this exam that was from the Board of Intermediate Education, the BIE.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right? They announced their scores. 350,000 kids failed the exam.
Oh.
Now, there's been a huge outcry. 35% failures is massive, right? Huge outcry.
Out of 1 million.
And they're now saying that it looks like that the software that did the results and all this sort of stuff may have been misconfigured or something. I don't know. I don't know all those technical details side of it, but something went wrong in scoring the exams. But guess what?
There's a shocker. What?
It's a bit late. 20 of the kids have committed suicide over the exam.
No.
20 kids have committed suicide this week. Over those
you're kidding.
They worked so hard for this exam, and then they get back that they've failed. And the pressure that had been applied to them by family and education institutions and so forth to do well, 20 kids. That is crazy. One of them, a young girl, she set herself on fire after her parents went to work. I mean, this is how serious these guys are taking this. This is just crazy.
Oh, that's horrendous.
But could you imagine, though, being
that is horrendous,
the people who screwed up that software or the results checkers in India?
Well, yeah, but look, you can't blame them. I mean, look, I mean, it's software. All software is written by people, which means it's not perfect, right? Yeah. And there is no perfect software that exists, right? Yeah. And we've all had cases where stuff is wrong. But my issue is actually, and you said it first, what sort of pressure are these kids being put under that they feel that the only way out is suicide?
Yeah. I mean, the families of each kid are being offered 35,000 Australian dollars as compensation for each kid that's died.
Is that it?
That's it, right? I mean, money will never bring back a child. Nothing will ever bring back a child. And it's unfair. It's part of life, but it's unfair that parents ever have to bury their kids. But just tragic that 20 of them have committed suicide over an exam.
Did any of them suffer mental health issues though? That would be That would be a question I'd like to I mean, it's very easy to sort of target the parents and go, "What the hell have you done to your kid?" Right, to put them under pressure. But the reality is, there could be mental health issues at play too.
Having lost a sister to suicide, and ladies and gentlemen, if anyone out there, please contact the relevant people to get help, right? Because there ain't no coming back from it.
No.
Having lost a sister to suicide, I'd say that anyone who's even contemplating suicide, especially those that try to commit or commit suicide, the question on whether there were mental health issues, it's null and void. They're there. They're there. It's just that simple. Whether they're brought on by an failed exam or whatever they're brought on by.
Yeah, it's just a catalyst.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Because that is one hell of a drastic step. So that is a crazy news story.
Wow.
It's a very sad story, but it's very real in this world. It's just unbelievable. And
absolutely crazy.
Now I've got another one. This is not a crazy news story, but I've got to give a shout out to a friend that Stacy and I know, a guy Stacy, Mabin.
Oh yeah.
Mabin. Went to Mabin.
Good guy.
Yeah, mate, fantastic guy. Had a chat to him the other night. Mabin and Alicia.
Alicia,
yeah, Alicia.
Yeah.
We had dinner with them on Saturday night. And Mabin was telling us his philosophy on life. Now, for none of you guys out there know him. He used to be a Muslim, so he's right up on the Quran and everything else. He's a non-religious person now. He doesn't follow it and all that sort of stuff. But he had this philosophy, and his philosophy on life was just amazing. The way he's doing a job for the SES here, where he's building some stuff, and he wasn't getting the recognition for it. He was working quite hard. And then he sat back and he said to himself, well, who am I doing it for? Am I doing it to get the recognition, or am I doing it for myself? He's actually doing it for himself, so the recognition doesn't matter. Yeah. And he's got this amazing philosophy on life. And so I'd like to give a shout out. Thanks for a great night. And thanks for sharing. It was just fantastic. Yeah, just fantastic. Yeah.
And look, and having worked with Mabin myself, as you know, he's a great guy. He's all heart. And he actually offered help to my brother on a professional level. For no gain, just purely to help out, and because he's that sort of guy, and
absolutely. His wife Alicia, I mean, talent just abounds, just flows from that lady.
Photographer, she's a photographer, isn't she?
She's a photographer. She's an author. She's a public servant. She is everything. She's a mother. She is everything. She creates costumes for the kids. Goes all out. Like the kids having a party, so she creates Harry Potter wands. Yeah, she doesn't go and buy the cheap plastic ones. She makes them.
She makes them.
She's just amazing. And the kids are adorable.
Yeah, so lovely.
Big shout out to them.
We need more people like that in our world, don't we?
Absolutely. All right. How you going? What crazy news you got for us?
Well, remember we talked a few, I can't remember what episode now, a few episodes we were talking woodworking, and you mentioned that crazy new fandangle device called SawStop.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you the video so that we can show our crazy viewers what we're talking about. And
anyone who doesn't like blood and gore, turn away.
Hopefully not. Look, it's 5 minutes long, but we're not going to go through the whole 5 minutes. I'm just going to jump. I'm going to jump to certain bits, right? Hopefully I've got the timing right. But anyway, tell me you can hear this when I start this up.
Here is a good rule of thumb, or potential lack thereof. Table saws can bite. A quick demonstration. Wood. T-bone steak. Wood.
So I'm just going to...
Steak. Wood. Steak. Are we clear on this?
I'm just going to shoot it forward.
Lamp. There's a small electrical signal on there, conducts that signal into my body, and my body absorbs some of the signal, and that triggers the system. It'll detect that in less than 1,000th of a second. Okay.
Any volunteers? Hey, over there in the fridge. Yeah, you. Yes.
That's right.
We're going to use a salty, wet, conductive, all-beef Frank.
And so I'll hold it just like it was my thumb.
What's this?
You gotta be kidding me. Let's see it. There's nothing.
It is.
That is amazing. That really,
look at that.
I mean, that's, it's like nothing ever happened.
The blade is rotating at about 5,000 RPM. It's forced to stop in 1/1000th of a second. It saves a finger, but mangles the machine.
you know, you have so much momentum in here. You're decelerating something at like 1,000 Gs, you know, 1,000 times the acceleration of gravity.
Now we get warped. Machine stops on a dime, or in this case, a franc. Machine is not happy about this fact.
Any way that this asymmetrically hits the weight, it's just going to put huge torques. You're slowing this thing down at 1,000 Gs. We just have no human reference to what that means. That's like driving a car 1,000 miles an hour and hitting a wall.
Yeah, concrete wall.
And it's just flapping like it's a piece of paper.
5,000 RPMs is a lot of energy. The energy has to go somewhere when it stops, so it's transferred to the SawStop module, which acts like the crumple zone in a car. The module and saw blade are now officially trashed. But hey.
So, now what he's going to do... Oh, actually,
right? Yep.
Hang on.
Camera.
Yeah.
Finally.
So,
lights.
The inventor
camera.
is going to...
Conductivity.
So, now they're basically... Because this guy invents this, right? So, they're gone, all right, put your money where your mouth is. So, he's going to put his finger into the saw blade.
No.
Watch this.
You all right?
Yep.
There's no blood. There's nothing.
Nope. Didn't hurt.
Whew.
This is a man who has faith in his creation. Wow! Now we bet you've never seen this before, a finger being shoved into a table saw. At least we hope you aren't one of those unlucky 10. We know the machine stopped, and we know nobody got hurt, but we gotta say it. Ouch!
It felt a little like a buzz or a tickle almost.
You're talking about your finger in a table saw, and you're talking about a buzz and a tickle.
We've done a lot of bizarre things in our lab.
How crazy is that?
That, my friend, is insanity. Would you do it?
Put my finger in it? No way! I put the sausage in it.
Really, Stacy, put that in it, but you put your finger in it?
Oh, that's the deal. Yeah, but look, that's a funny thing. My wife says, "What do you want for your 50th birthday?" Right? Because that's coming up this year. And I said, "I want one of them."
Yeah, but how much would it cost to replace the broken bits?
About $100.
Okay.
So the cartridges. So you saw the blade as it jammed into that cartridge, right? Yeah. So that cartridge is worth about $100 a pop. Right. Well, plus the blade. So your blade's probably about $80 a pop as well. So $180 every time you set one of those off. But you know what? I'd rather that than a few digits.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We could call you Stumpy.
Yeah, you could.
All right.
But amazing tech. Amazing tech.
We've been going a long while, actually. See, I told you this would happen. Our next episode. What are we going to do? What are we going to have for the listeners in our next episode?
I have no idea. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking we might offer a little bit more of the budget stuff.
Cool.
Right? We'll offer a little bit more of the budget stuff. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
I think it's something that's very topical for most people.
Yeah, if you're coming in on number 11, like if you're one of those unlucky 7,965,321 people, what you've missed is the fact that I can't spell budget. Right?
That's right, most people can't.
Yeah, while I can actually spell it, and I know that most people can spell it, it's not something that I very easily adapt to. But it is something that even at my, shall we say, young age, Stacy,
experienced,
and someone with my experience can
grayness.
What we're going to do now. This is probably not going to be for a couple of days because I do have a little bit of work left to do. That is, we're going to just explain the differences in a traditional budget versus envelope or cash budgeting. All right, so but we'll spend a few minutes on that just to give some people an idea, and may even recommend a product or two that you can have a look at. We're not affiliated with anyone, but it's a couple of simple things that will allow you to have a look at your finances, and hopefully for anyone out there in trouble, start to get you on the right track. Because apart from having a good time on this podcast, we also want to make sure that we actually deliver something to you of value.
I want to help people.
I have to say that. Right, so, but it's true. It's true. All right, so in the next podcast, we're going to do that. What do you reckon, Mr. Basel?
Sounds like a plan, Stan. And I also want to do a we talked about the hardware wallets. I reckon we do a demo of setting one of those up and how they work.
That would be awesome, actually. So if we're not ready for the budget because, like, I only got to the BUD part, right, and then someone said it's a Budweiser, then we'll do the hardware wallet instead, all right? Okay, but this has been Two Crazy Guys in One Crazy World, coming to you from episode 11. So,
hang on.
Well, hang on. No, we haven't gone. See,
one more thing. A Stacy special selection.
Stacy special selection. I totally forgot about that because I didn't write it on my whiteboard. What?
So, given it's election time,
oh my God, yeah,
the ABC have done. And look, it's it's worth doing, right? I'm not sure the value of it. However, they've got this vote compass, and they've had this in previous elections, right? This isn't the first time they've done this. But what it does do is it runs you through a series of questions. You hit get started, or you put in your
How long does it take?
Look, you probably need to take about 10, 15 minutes or whatever.
Okay, good. So you show us the first screen now. Tell us about it in 10 seconds or less.
Yeah. So basically what you want to do is, here's the first question, right? So it basically, all it does is it gives you a series of questions and you answer on a scale, right? So first one is welfare recipients should be subjected to random drug tests. So you either strongly disagree all the way up to strongly agree or don't know.
Yep.
Right? So you just basically, you answer these questions on the scale that sits true to you. And the idea is at the end of it, it shows you on a graph how your views align with these potential or so-called policies of all the major parties. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? Yeah. I did it, right? And I sat smack bang in the middle of a lot of them.
Oh, really? All right, I'll do that.
So it didn't help me one little bit.
I'll do it. I'll get the link off Stacy, and I'll do that today, and we'll share the results in the next podcast. But I do see one really, really quick problem with it.
What's that?
There's not one single one of those parties that doesn't stand there and bald-faced lie to us.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Which is why I said, potential policies.
Yeah, potential. That's right. I mean, look at Shorten. Shorten, who everyone knows is not my favourite, he's been caught out now to the point where he rolls his eyes to heaven every time the reporters ask a question. All right.
But the problem is he's not the only one, right? They're all the same.
I know.
They all talk shit.
Oh, mate, they're just atrocious. See, Karen Phelps might lose Wentworth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They like her. They love her. Everywhere she goes, she's there. But she came out and said that she's going to preference Labor over Liberal. Now, while Wentworth, before she won it off in the by-election, was a 100% Liberal thing, a solid Liberal seat. And as they said, the people of Wentworth were happy to smack the government in the arse.
Yeah, right.
And they'd still be happy to re-elect her, but they would not be happy to re-elect Labor. And under the two-party preferred, if she gives her preferences to Labor, Labor will get it. If she doesn't get it. And so apparently that one decision looks like it's going to knock her out. Because they're saying, seriously,
again,
we'll have you, but if you lose, we want Libs, not Labor.
And this is the crazy thing about this two-party preferential system.
Bloody thing.
It's ridiculous that we can't get away from these two parties.
I know.
No matter which way we vote.
It doesn't matter where you go, it all goes. Anyway, but we can talk about that as the election comes up, and we will. We will touch on electoral things. Now, once more, am I allowed to say bye now?
All right, I'll let you.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World, bringing you episode 11. So remember, until next time, same bat time, same bat channel, different place. Have a great afternoon.
Don't forget to send in your questions. We want to know what topics you want us to cover.
Yeah, please. Send them in. We promise we won't ignore them. We'll answer them. We're good.
We'll try it.
Fantastic. You love us. That's why you listen.
So send it to 2crazyguys1 onecrazyworld@gmail.com.
There you go. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Evening, or whatever it happens to be, whatever part of the world you're living in. Ciao.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.